Welcome to Midlife Badassery, everybody. I have a special guest with me here today, and I have to, as I introduce her, confess that I'm basically Katya's biggest fan. So I even have a badge that I use inside the school communities. Yeah, it's very special. So anyhow, I first found Katya when it was inside a business school community, and she was openly sharing her behind the scenes, and I was automatically, like, just drawn to her energy, and then I'm watching her build out her group in these live summits and creating this incredible space for, like, spiritual creatives to be and to really step into growth and community and connection, and I was so pulled into how she talked about all of that and making it about money and being seen in the world and not in a creepy bro marketing way. I even went as far as to join her soul led mastermind, basically because it was soul led, And because, Katya. So now we're here and she's running for the school games. And if you're not familiar with the platform school, this is a badass move, you guys. And we're all things badass here on this podcast. So I thought, what a better way to support Katya on this sleigh and to get to this epic goal. And we'll get into that a little bit. But it's also about being visible, valuable, and profitable, which I think I want to bring in the conversation today, Katya, because I think we have so many money blocks as women, especially. And then you bring it in the creative world and it's like compounded, like, because we're again giving of ourselves and we feel like there's limiting beliefs around being worthy of that or receiving it. So before we dive in all the Oracle and AI art, now that I've done my little opening, and I do your hypnosis every day too, just so you know. Katya is also a hypnotherapist, you guys. So before we dive in, who is Katya McEwen? What do you want them to feel about the woman behind the scenes, right? Like, what do we need to know?
Great question. First of all, thank you for having me here and color coordinating with your light behind you. I totally love that, right? So look,
Yes.
you see the vibes. So, and thank you for being my biggest fan. It's just been incredible to see you grow and also to see everything that you are doing. So who is Katya? I always like to start with who I am. And I'm a conscious being, just all of you here experiencing this 3D living on Earth, right? So we all are conscious being, and I know your audience will resonate with that. I don't introduce myself like that everywhere, but I totally understand. I know that your audience will understand. So what is beyond that? Who am I as a human being, right? And experiencing this 3D live on planet Earth, I do everything and guide myself by my four top core values, which spells life, love, impact with integrity, freedom of expression, and involvement. If something does not fit in this four, I just don't do it.
Yeah. So these are kind of like, would you say they're like your core values, guiding principles? Like how did it become your philosophy, this life? That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, really good question. Many years ago, I can't remember how many right now, I was reviewing and reevaluating my values. And I've done it for many, many years. And then I love acronyms as well. And I was looking at all of my values and they just fell into word life. And I'm like, that is like an interesting synchronicity because there is no coincidences, only synchronicities, right? So I'm like, that is super cool that my top core values actually spell life.
Yeah.
And all of them are the same except the last one. The first one was always about love because to me, there is no higher frequency in this world, in 3D world, especially as love. Right. So that's one thing. I was always about impact, creating impact, and integrity was important to me. So I come back and I combined it because it's not just any impact. Like you said at the beginning, yeah, absolutely. We can get and lean into a lot of the bro marketing energy and get into the hustle and burnout. It just doesn't work like that, especially for midlife women. It just, we're
Yeah.
over it. We don't have filters anymore. We're so over this hustle and everything else. And we really want to get into this playfulness and creativity and doing things that are fun, that bringing us joy, right? So impact with integrity is a big thing. And then, as I said, bringing things with joy and creativity, it's this big freedom of expression. Because visibility is all about expressing yourself and feeling free on how you are expressing yourself. And that could be you expressing yourself through AI images, or that could be you are expressing yourself through dancing, or you can express yourself with your alter ego, right? So that's
Mhm.
your specialty, right? So it could be so many different ways that we're forgetting because we've been conditioned to express ourselves in a certain way. Corporate background, we were not allowed to express ourselves the way we wanted. We have to be compliant with whatever that corporation wanted. For most, like, for some of you, maybe you're lucky and you were, but most of my corporate jobs were not allowed me to go and freely sage the spaces and everything else, right? Except one. I actually had one job where I had my sage and everything else, and I would sage my store and all of this stuff. So, but most of the corporations and just in general condition us to become somebody who we're not or who we don't
Yeah.
want to be, and we just comply. And then the last one, involvement, it used to be empowerment. But I quickly realized that empowerment is great. But if we're just empowering people and they don't really grow and evolve, technically, if we're not evolving and growing, we are dying.
Yeah.
So, an involvement was very big for me as well personally. What is it that I do every day that I can involve and I can actually not necessarily improve things? Because, yes, we can improve things, but we can also change things in a way that might not be traditional improvement or better, but we can
Mhm.
evolve on a different level, right? So those are my top core values.
Yeah, what would you say to the woman that, like, feels like she just doesn't even know how to be creative anymore, you know? I imagine you see quite a few of us fall into your space because 'cause we're drawn to oracle cards. Like, what do you tell those women that feel like, I just can't create it, I don't see art," you know? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, first I would say, hey, now it was me and Adi, and you will become creative again. Right. So, and again, part of it is our conditioning. Maybe in your first, second, fourth grade, whatever, the teacher said your painting or your drawing was ugly, or maybe it was one of the classmates or somebody like that. And you now carrying that message, which never was yours, with you. First of all, is we are all creative. We were born like that. We just forgot.
Yeah.
So if you like saying, well, I'm not really creative or I want to be creative, don't know where to start really surrounding yourself with the creative humans and see how they can rub on you. And then really lean in the energy of that childhood curiosity. Because as a
Mm,
child, you didn't need to ask, was it a pretty drawing or not, until you learned that somebody might appreciate it or not. Right. So depending on how you were brought up, it's
yeah.
with as we grow in, we're just adopting somebody else's beliefs, somebody else's opinion, and it has nothing to do with us.
What are some things you've started to do as an adult that remind you of your childhood?
Hmm. Really good question. I always been like leaning into childhood curiosity. And to me, it's a little things. It does not need to be like a big things. Okay, I'm going to take painting class, which is also great too. But to me, is really slowing down, stopping to feel the moment. It could be a moment in a nature where you can just slow down and you notice the flower or grass or anything like that. Maybe there's a new bud and really start feeling into that. So to me, I'm always very curious. I would go and I'll look at the plant. I would smell it. My husband always laughs at me and my daughter. I would not pass the plant with flowers and don't smell them. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really start getting all of your senses because that is going to bubble your creativity to the surface. Stopping, being in the moment, really appreciating where you are right now. Trying not to do too many things at once, especially for our entrepreneurs here who is listening, because we have so much on the go. And from perspective of really how you can get back into creativity, I think the best way is The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. If you haven't read this book, or it's not just read the book, but if you haven't really practiced it, I definitely recommend, because her method is going to bring you back to that inner child, into creativity, and much more than that.
I agree. It's one of those rites of passage as we head into especially midlife, I think. And it was written for creatives, right? She wrote it to help unblock creatives, but it's really for everybody. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a great take home for everybody. And just so you know, if you guys are listening on the podcast, we are doing this live on YouTube. So we have a whole gallery over here leaving you a bunch of comments, Katya. So you guys, if you have questions, drop them in and I'll try to pick them up as we go. But I have so much to get into it with Katya anyway. We'll just start diving in because we were talking about childhood, and you were born in Russia but grew up in the Ukraine, correct? And
Yep.
then, so can you tell me a little bit about like that childhood experience and how? I mean, you have a whole story of how what's going on with the war in Ukraine and everything and how it like unlocked your creativity. Can you kind of just give us a brief background about childhood and moving and then into this unleashing this badass Katya that we know you as?
How much time do we have? I'm just joking. Okay, so
You have all
so
the time you need, my dear. Yeah.
okay, fantastic. So I was born in Russia, in Siberia, and I moved from Siberia, from Russia, to Ukraine when I was 7 years old. Back then, it was Soviet Union. So I was born in a family where my father was Jewish. I was raised by Jewish grandmother, and my mother is Russian Orthodox. So they met in Siberia. My father moved there, and then when I was 7 years old, we moved back in Ukraine. Back then, it was Soviet Union, so it was not. It just was republic. It was Ukrainian Republic and the Russian Federation. So here is a
Right.
little history lesson, right? So my childhood, what I can remember, was full of playfulness, was full of playing in a lot of snow. I don't know why I don't remember I don't have a lot of memories from summers, but I have tons of incredible memories from winters. Snow, sleigh. We lived very close to the forest. So now where I live in Canada and British Columbia, it's really reminds, like almost like bringing those childhood memories. We lived about 5 minutes walk to the forest, and as a children, we would go and play there. So that brings me a lot of memories here. And then we moved to Ukraine when I was 7 years old. So, little history here. And again, my childhood until 11 years old was filled with a lot of happy memories. And unfortunately, my dad passed when I was 11 years old, and he was my best friend. So, that's how my grief journey started when I was 11 years old. And I will bring it back in a moment here just to explain why I'm bringing it up. But I grew up like a very, very happy child who was incredibly loved by both parents. I was very close to my dad, more than to my mom, but we done a lot of incredible things like any families do, vacations and everything else. I was very fortunate. And even after my dad passed away, my mom made sure that we traveled as kids and we had like all incredible things, even as a single mom, and it was hard for her. But what I learned in my childhood, especially after my dad passed, is that you have to work extremely hard for money. Because
Yeah.
my mom had 3 or 4 jobs just to make sure that she gives us everything that she wanted. And as a single mom, plus give us this extra trips or anything like that, right? So that is part of the history as well. So when the war started on February 24th, 2022, it started 2 days after I published my first journal planner. And if you ever published anything on Amazon, it takes 72 hours for it to actually come alive. So I pressed the publish button. The war started in 2 days. I never promoted my planner because I just couldn't. Like I wasn't even in mental space. And when the war started, I had a huge identity crisis. So I had a huge identity crisis because I was born in Russia, in Siberia. I was half Russian. Okay. And I couldn't understand what the heck was going on and how it even could happen. I
Yeah.
also have a deep roots with Ukraine because I grew up in Ukraine until I was 25. I immigrated to Canada and then I also lived in US for 10 years. So I digress. So when the war started in Ukraine, I had this huge identity crisis. I am certified mindset coach and I always use my tools. And I've done it for many years with clients and myself and nothing was working. Like literally nothing was working. Anything that I could do, any mindset techniques, they were just not working. So when the war started at the beginning of the war, I literally was looking for things to distract me. So I came up to this post that my teacher, I used to work with this coach, was Jenna Sword, and she made a post, something about creating images with AI. And that was over 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago in September. And it was like, what is that? But you know what? It looks kind of cool. I know Jenna. I always get like incredible value from her. I need distraction. Let me just dive in. And my first thing was is just literally to turn off the noise. And the reason was because I couldn't sleep. I was attached to my phone. I had incredible PTSD. What if is that going to be my last call with my brother? What if I cannot, what if they bomb me in time difference as well? What if they're going to be bombed and I cannot hear him or I cannot see his message? It was brutal. On top of it, me being split in this not personality identities of Russia. Who am I? Am I Russian? Am I Ukrainian? What am I even like saying? Right. So like it was really, really bad. And when I started creating with AI as a distraction first, then I was like, okay, how can I use it for the good use? So I created my very first image of a beginner, which is who is goddess, modern goddess of protection of Ukraine. And I started using those images and selling those images. I still do. And all the proceeds that I would use from that, I would send to Ukraine. Now, sending to Ukraine, I would not use many organizations because of a lot of corruptions in Ukraine. So I'm very open about that, right? There is a lot of corruptions and I wanted the money to go where they need to go. So I actually have somebody who's a war correspondent that I know in my city. And anytime I send money from proceeds, it goes directly to him. And well, it doesn't, I send to him and he uses this whatever that they need to use. A lot of times it's for equipment for people, for the soldiers. A lot of times it could be sleeping bags, it could be shawls, whatever that they need. And he also sends me like all receipts, not that I ask him, but I trust him, right? So that's how it started of my journey of getting back into creativity, specifically with AI. But before war started, when I turned 50, I started painting. I never painted before. I could not draw anything and I started painting when I turned 50. So between that is that really leaning into creativity. I started painting because I wanted to have a space of not using any technology and just play.
Yeah.
So when I turned 50, that's how I started painting. And then with AI imagery and everything else, it's just absolutely like my creativity been blown up. In 1 month after I started using it, after I started creating those images for the good cause, and after being, I don't know, I need distraction, I actually created my first deck and then I created four more. One of them for the client. And I always wanted to create decks, always. And I had hired graphic designers. I even hired the artist. And with the artist, we came as far as 6 images. It was like over $600 just for 6 images. And then it wasn't her fault at all. I could not express what was my vision for those images. I couldn't put it into words. And not until I started using AI, I was able to actually create what I wanted to create. So here's my long-winded story of how I leaned into creativity and how my first membership was born, which is Oracle Cards Magic, which we celebrated 3 years old, 3 years on April 2nd. Some of you are here. I seen Kathy. She is there, right? So you was there. There is some other people there. And yes, and the rest I would say is the history of a little bit of my history.
Love hearing your history, Katya. And yeah, and everything you're doing for the war back there too. It just brings such a wow, it's just powerful. to your story. I really want to just ask you this about AI because I've been struggling with this a little bit. You know, I love AI like I for the creativity. Like I have a custom chatbot for my alter ego. And then, I've got my teenager projector warrior child that is like, AI's killing the planet. And like, so it's just this like struggle like within me and ethically. And I think for like some of the women coming in, what do you what do you think about that, and how do you balance it in your mind and what we're creating?
A really beautiful question. I love that we're talking about that. I love questions like that because it opens conversation. And
Right.
I have a child just like yours. I don't know how old is yours. Mine is going to be 35. And she's so against AI. As a matter of fact, I was sharing my deck with her and she's like, oh, it's AI. I don't want to look at it. So, and she's also autistic. So she's very direct and like, I mean, to the point. So she does not have like a social norms of softening the blow, right? So to
Yeah.
speak, like we have.
Mine's 17 and is, she's a projector, man. She's, like, telling you how it is if you know in the human design, like so, yes, I'm hearing it like that too and doesn't like it, but I'm seeing it crack women open, like, from this
So yeah.
chat bot I made, you know?
So let's really be honest about environment. Okay.
Yes.
So absolutely, 100%. I am 100% aware that it could be really like we can destroy our environment if we're not using it mindfully and intentionally. What do I mean by that? If we're sitting in an eye for 24/7 and using it for anything and everything, that's not using it mindfully, first of all, that definitely will affect the planet. That also will affect your critical thinking if you're relying on AI for everything. So I am extremely mindful. So I choose when I'm using AI, how I'm using AI with images or artifacts or anything like that. And I also like to offset. What I mean by that is I choose to walk mostly everywhere. I choose not to use car unless I need to use car. So that's mine because you know what? AI is destroying our environment. So are cars, so are airplanes, so are so many different things. If we think for a minute that computer centers before AI do not use water or did not use water, they always did. If we think for a moment that we decide like we're not using AI at all, how many of you use Canva? It has AI in it. How many of you use so many things that we don't even know that has AI in it? So
Yeah.
to me, it's all about the intention and how we're using the tools. It's like a knife. We can prepare the most delicious 5-star Michelin star meal with a knife, with the help of the knife as a tool, or we can use it to the extreme of killing someone. So to me, what is that? Your values? How can you offset what you're doing with AI? And there is absolutely no question that AI does crack women and people open if we use and if we build incredible tools. So to me, the benefits of it outweighs of, the effects, which we also don't want to minimize. And each of us need to ask that question. Do I really need to ask this question of ChatGPT right now? Or can I use a little bit of critical thinking? Maybe Google it, maybe do something else, maybe look at my books that I have on the shelf because I can get the answer in the book as well. So it's always about that intention and our personal responsibility in everything we do.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful answer. And I've kind of been looking at it from also like putting some energy into a solution for that. Like I think every time humanity we like are our own worst enemy, but there's geniuses out there finding solutions. So I like every time I go to use AI, I send a little prayer to the idea gods out there and I'm like, okay, someone is gonna resolve this issue for us, right? Like this is just going to be resolved somehow. So I think we've got a question I saw in here I want to ask you
Yeah.
before we lose it. So this is from Laura Lou Healing. We all love some Laura Lou.
Hi, Laura.
What Hi. What Oh, that was Laura channeled through me. Did you hear that? I mean, she is a psychic media. I don't know where that Hi. Okay, sorry, back to the question. What's a belief you had to completely burn to the ground to become who you are today?
So let's start with that I never believe in burning yourself to the ground.
The belief. You had to burn the belief, not you.
Uh, Belief. Okay. What is belief I had to completely burn to the ground? Gotcha. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm now reading. I'm like, okay, what is the belief? So many, but and that's why I'm kind of scanning through them. But one of the biggest belief is that your success is really showing you who you are. And when we're attaching ourselves to our results, so the belief was that if I'm not performing, and when I say performing, not like acting performing, but if I set myself a goal and if I'm not reaching it, there is something wrong with me and I failed because I'm A-type personality. I came from, corporate sales background and sales coaching and training. And those reaching those goals. So belief was that when I don't reach the goal, that it means something about me as a human being. And what I needed to do to completely burn it down to the ground is completely detach myself from outcomes. For example, I'm running for school games right now, and we are number 7. As of this morning, I did not check after I had a full
Go
day of polls.
Katya! Yeah.
So to me, I had to completely detach from the outcome to the point that when we started getting on leaderboard, I didn't even check it. My members were telling me where I was. I'm completely detached from the outcome, but I also know I'm there in top 5. I'm in that mastermind in LA. It's done. So it's inevitable. It's done. I'm there. And if that is my energy, why would I worry about anything else? But also part of it, I approach it with it's there, but also if I win, great. If I don't win, great.
Yes.
And
So
that
good.
and that is not an easy energy to step in. So to answer that question, start learning how to detach yourself completely from outcome and really focus on you can plan how to get there. You can strategize. You can map out what you need to focus on. You need to focus on how would you feel when you achieve this goal? Who are you being that all of these results require? So who am I being every moment of the day? Am I really stepping in that being of the school games winner in this example, or whatever your goal is? Who am I being? And only after that is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because we are human beings and not human doings.
Ah, that's one of my favorites all time. I mean, I gotta tell you, on my spiritual journey, I think, Katya, that especially being someone with all the motor centers lit up, like it's a lot of energy, right? And coming from that corporate America, drive it hard background and really allowing ourselves to just be and be present and let go. I spent a whole year on the floor of my rig being like, just surrender. Like, and you can't like make yourself surrender because in that is the act of doing, right? So, what are some things you do to turn you over to that space of letting it go? What are some tips you can give us?
What I'm doing now is very different to what I was doing 2 years ago when I just started this journey of detachment. So, what I'm doing now is I am making sure that no matter what I'm doing, live lunches, whatever goals I have, I really focus on my energy and how I'm feeling and aligning it with that feeling of me as a higher self, right? So you can call it different alter egos. So I always ask myself the question, who do I need to be that my results require? What is that result that I want? And who do I need to be? How would she feel? Who is she being? And from that perspective of only, what would she do right now? As a matter of fact, I have a sticker on my laptop that said, what would she do?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Just fun fact while we're talking about our laptops, I got a gamer laptop because I'm cool like that. And it says when you open it, it goes, "For those who dare." And I'm like, every day I turn it on, I'm like, "I dare, badasses, let's go," right? And Katya, I so resonate with you because of all of this. And I use your hypnosis where we're seeing the bank account every day. And I want to bring this back into money real quick because we are in the run for the school games. And I saw in Oracle cards in our community, even, which, oh my God, I have so much to talk to you about because the whole connection in you being a matchmaker over there and used to work at Match.com, I got questions about that too. But we're going to get back to money. So, for money, like so many of us, I grew up in that you work hard for money. Like you got to put so much out. We're like my mom was a teacher. We're constantly, as women, especially, falling on the sword for everyone and everything. And when it comes to money, as we head into more of a spiritual journey, like let's say I'm teaching meditation or yoga, and like really your worth isn't tied to money or the thing, to go back to how you were talking about productivity. Now, this is way too long of a question. But like, as our productivity isn't tied to our worth as a person, neither is money, but money is also that frequency of just when you're living in in that ball of gratitude, right? So, what do you have to say to spiritual warriors out there who have these money blocks going on like that? Is that clear enough? I know it was a little
That's
all
good.
over.
I have enough to go
Okay,
to go by. Yes,
go.
so totally, totally. There's so much I want to say about that. First of all, I always say I believe that money belongs in the hands of soulful entrepreneurs and creatives because we can make this world a better place. Because when we have money, we will use this money for the better causes, right? So one of my goals is to have 77,000 every month recurring revenue. And the reason is because half of it is going to go to rebuild Ukraine after the war. Go back to my city, help like with the crew. I already have friends who said they will come with me. So I want to finance it. That's one of the biggest goals, right? So, and that is an example of how we soulful entrepreneurs and creatives think about money. We are going to put it in a good use. We're going to donate it to the good organizations. We are going to use it for something that's really dear to our heart, something that aligns with us. And the way is that we were taught is that your gifts, spiritual gifts, you're not supposed to charge for them. And I get so angry about that. I call bullshit.
Yeah.
And I've been called out on that several times, but inside school communities by several members and the ones who are like rage living, right? So, or been called on their BS is that, well, you're not an oracle, you're all about the money, right? So, or you like whatever it is, whatever, which is their problems, not me problem. But a lot of entrepreneurs who are just starting, especially in spirituality, they get it too hard. People don't think that their words affect them, but they do.
Yeah.
And to me, spirituality and money are not mutually exclusive. So if you can get anything out of this today's talk, that money and spirituality is not or, it's and. I say
Yeah.
I know my shit and I'm going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bring my gifts because I want to share them, but it doesn't mean that it's not about, it's me too. I look at it from perspective of me too. It's not, I will give everything until I'm depleted. And I've been there and I've done that. I have that t-shirt or many of them,
Yeah.
but it doesn't help anyone. I want you guys to think about it, that it doesn't help anyone for you to be a martyr. Stop being a martyr. Just stop.
Yes, so good. Listen, you just like, I got full spirit tingle vibes here. You guys feel it in the audience. Drop in the chat if you did, because when you were just like speaking such truth. And this is one thing I've found in the work I've done, Katya, was just very similar with your mindfulness and all of that. But women like putting themselves first, like how hard that can seem to be. And it's the same concept, right? Like, and if I put myself first, it might not look like because I'm off teaching how to do something in a planner that that's impacting the world, right? Like like maybe working in a soup kitchen would or something. I took me the longest time to to be okay with, hey, what I'm here to seek is what will serve the rest of the world ultimately. It might create some, like someone's going to unlock a dream where they go help Ukraine rebuild, or like something like that can come out of it. So I think the more selfish we get with things, the more it benefits us. And I know, do you know what I'm trying to say here? Is that
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, totally. But we
yeah,
also need to think about I give a lot of things for free. I'm extremely generous. My love
right.
language is gifts. So I am very generous inside my free community. So it's not mutually exclusive. But the
Yes.
reason I can be generous is because I have income as well. I'm not coming from the perspective of depletion and depleted and energy and desperate energy. You
Yes.
cannot build business from desperation and desperate energy. Your clients will smell it, your future clients, prospects, whoever, they will smell it 1,000 miles away. You just
Yes.
can't.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
absolutely can't. This is why after I was online for full time, I went back to corporate so I can create a foundation the second time around of me not being in a desperate energy.
I did the same thing. I didn't even realize our stories were parallel there. I didn't realize you had left and came back. So let me see. I want to kind of shift back to Oracle decks real quick because I think there's so much power in a deck, right? And so many of us spiritual, like I want to make a deck for my alter ego, right? But like, what type of messages make a good deck, Katya? Like, just, or methods, like, and listen, I haven't been through the full course, even though I'm in Oracle Cards Magic, because I know once you know how I am, once I get in it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So what kind of things go into making a great deck?
This is such a great question, and people asking me this almost like giving them the formula. There is no formula. And
Yeah.
all I would say is the only thing that would make a deck a great deck if you put your soul into it. So that would be
Yeah.
my answer. It might be not as practical as what you wanted to hear, but there is no such thing as a bad deck. There is no such thing as a how can I create the most profitable deck? And we can go into practicality, absolutely. But I
Mhm.
always start. So if you want to know where to start, if you ever done any of my free adventures, I always start with what? And people like I see a couple of people who've been there, like Jillian, and I see Kathy. I always
Yeah.
start with what? We have a guided visualization, 15 minutes, where
Yeah.
I connect you to actually see the deck that you're creating, see the clients who's opening the box, and I
Yeah.
literally guide you through that visualization. So, and there is some other stuff. I don't go into let's go and do the research and let's go to find deck ikigai. We do that later.
Yeah.
Because first
Yeah.
we're going to connect to the soul and the heart of this deck. And oracle cards, the beauty of them that there is no structure, like specific structure, like in tarot cards. Tarot cards, there is a structure, 78, right? Major arcana, minor arcana. With oracle cards, you can do whatever you want. You can do as many cards as you want or as little cards as you want. Whatever is that, the only thing I would think about, what is the transformation your deck is going to create for your client? But before we even get there, we'll get into the soul and heart.
Yeah, it's how I start a lot of my work. So I get that. I didn't even think about that with the deck itself. That's awesome. What do you think most of us soulful creators get stuck on? Like when we're putting a project like an Oracle deck in the world, what stops us?
Self-criticism is a big one, right? So I'm not artistic enough. I'm not creative enough. I don't know how to do that. And this is why I teach both ways. I teach it how you can do it with tools like Canva, or like I don't necessarily teach Photoshop, but if you use Photoshop, you can do that. And also AI, because when I started using AI, I can show you very quickly how to get what's in your head and the
Yeah.
image, right? So but the beauty of that is also people can say, I'll say now, like, especially these days, not when I started with AI, anyone can create a beautiful image, gorgeous, stunning images. That's not a problem. The challenge is, how do you create cohesive images that actually belong in one deck? It's not like
Yeah.
if you open in the, like if you shuffle on the deck and then suddenly they all disconnected, not just by colors, but disconnected by themes and all of that stuff. And they're like, oh, that doesn't even feel like it belongs in this deck. This is where the challenges come.
Yeah. And as a deck user, I mean, I'm a relatively new deck I mean, I just got my first deck like 8 years ago. So I feel like in your community, I'm relatively new, right? And I can so see what you mean by that in decks that have resonated and those that haven't and how their theme flows throughout it. I think a lot of midlife women out there were sitting on like ideas and stories and don't know what to do with them. What do you have to say to all of us out there that are feeling that way?
I would encourage you to go to your Google Drive. And so the easiest way for you to find idea, if you don't go into like meditation or anything like that, meditation is the first, that's what I would say, meditation, visualization. But if you want to get a little bit practical, it's like, well, I don't even know if I have something, go to your freaking Google Drive. There is so many things and so many files that you can find. Maybe you already wrote the book or half of the book or anything like that. That's where you will find your deck. You don't
So good. It's
even need
already
to,
right within you. Yeah.
yeah, it's already in you. It's already in you. You don't need to, it's already in your files. And I also, I have this, I probably should find, just remind me, I'll send you the link. I have it on YouTube, a training that where I show you how you can turn your digital dust into cash collecting, cards and card deck, because it's already there, right? So you can reverse engineer what you already have. Because remember, like, I just printed it's a sample. It's not perfect, but I just printed my deck because I'm ordering the bulk, and your cards don't have much in them, right? So they're very, short text on them. So, and of course, your book will have a little bit more, but you still cannot overload it. So think about that maybe 3-4 pages of content could be turned into 25 to 44 card deck, like a cards.
Yeah.
You don't need
Yeah.
much content. And I see here, I can your name is skipping right now. It's Cosmic. Addie, remind me the name.
Oh, I
Because I
think
know
that's Louise.
Louise, thank you. Because I know
Yeah,
your
I think it's
community. So
Louise. Yeah.
Louise asked, what is a transformation? So creating the deck is no different than creating a paid offer or a course. You will see what is the result that your people will get. What is a transformation?
Yeah.
And with each deck, it will be different. There could be decks that are educational, right? There is a decks that could be more of connecting to their intuition. There is a deck could be more for confirmation. My deck Astrobist is mostly connecting to intuition and confirmation, right? So my new one. My first deck is all about gentle shadow work. So you can have many different topics and themes. So when I say transformation, it's no different. Like, how do you get them from point A to point B?
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah, I mean,
transformation.
I think that's such a powerful way. Louise is like, damn, I realize I have a deck in me. I think we all have a deck in us. It's like they say we all have a
100%.
book in us. It's the same thing, right? We probably have like 10 decks in it. I love educational decks. I love when my first deck was a chakra deck, and I learned all about the chakra system, and it kind of introduced me to that path of like my yogic path journey, you know? So you talk in the new community, so Oracle Connections. And if you guys are listening or watching, this is a free community. Get your little butts in there. It's where we hang out, we make connections, we learn, we grow. What you talk a lot about community and collaborations, kind of like what we're doing here today. We're bringing our community together, right? Why can't we do this work alone? What have you seen? Like, why is it so powerful in community?
Well, first of all, I'm all about collaboration, so we're competing. I'm all about women lifting women. Why we cannot do it alone? I don't think you want to do it alone. It's not that we can't do it alone. You can. Why would you want to do it alone? Especially when we're in online space. I don't know about you guys, but I have all normies around me. And when I say normies, it's like, people who don't know what online business is.
Yeah,
Right?
right?
So
Yeah, they
then
think we're
like,
in some cult. You go to a retreat
yeah,
and they're
so or
like, they think
whatever it
you're
is.
Are they gonna steal you? That used to happen when I do retreats. The women would come and be like,
right?
"My husband
So
thinks I joined a cult." And I'm like, "Well, you kinda did,
yeah,
so."
right. So when you start thinking about it, you want to build, business, online business, especially spiritual business with people who are like-minded, who understands you. One of the biggest sin in my Oracle connections, if you even read like about page, for old ducks, for like I always say, because I always felt like an old duck, odd duck, right? So somebody who does not belong, that I was so different because of that spiritual,
Yeah.
aspect. My biggest gift and strengths is clairvoyance, not clairvoyance. Yeah, what is it? Claircognizance, sorry. Claircognizance, because I just know. Like, I don't need, like, people are saying, where did you learn that? I just know, it just came to me, right? So that's my biggest gift. And people would like always say, like, oh, that's bullshit. Tell me the book you read it in. I have no idea. I
Yeah.
just know, right? So, and I always felt like, isn't everyone like that? They just know and they just tell you things. And then you realize that muggles, right, Laura? And then you realize, like, no, not everyone like that. So the power of collaborating, doing it together is because you are around like-minded people.
Yeah.
And
I think it's
building
just so powerful. Yeah. Go
and
ahead, sorry.
building alone is very not just lonely, but when you build in alone, building business is not easy. It's not. There's a lot of mind fuckery comes with business. That's the best personal development you will ever do when you start doing the business. Right. So I had like 2 days ago, I made a post because it's really threw me off kilter.
Yeah.
There's something somebody said about the me and community in a message, and it threw me off a kilter, no matter how much it wasn't true.
Yeah.
No matter how much I know that I give so much and everything else, that one message sometimes can throw you off kilter because there could be other, like the straw that broke a camel back.
Yeah. Yep.
So I have my community and I started typing and then I'm like, well, I don't want to type it. It's not something I want. No, if I say like, oh, I don't know how it's going to be taken, I actually will force myself to post it.
Yeah.
So I am in community where people would actually wrap their arms around me as well. And I say around me as well because that's exactly what other members doing in my community. You can come and share and ask for help and support. And remember, I said me too. And occasionally I will do that too.
Yeah.
But to
Yes.
me, when I help bringing people together, talking about matchmaking, bringing people together, to me, I cannot serve everyone. I know what you teach, the alter ego. I always had an alter ego. It's a song. I just had one, right? So it's Katy Perry Roar. So whenever I need to step into my alter ego, I will play that song. I also have another song that is just and if you've been to my summit, you know what it is, right? It's Pink, all I know so far, right?
Yeah.
So I have certain things that help me to step in her, right? So into my higher version. But I don't help people like you do. I help them to shift identities, but in a very different way.
Yeah.
So why would I
Yeah.
rob people from not experiencing something that you're good at? Not only that, is also not everyone will resonate with me. Not everyone is ready to go into one-on-one hypnosis that is super deep and require a lot of work. I want them to start with somebody like, let's say, like depending on what they're doing, and really experiencing some shifts. And when they're ready, they were like, hey, I got to the certain point, but there is still residual in there. They will be ready to come and perhaps work with me if they haven't reached what they need to reach. And some of them will. That's all they need is enough right here.
Yeah, I think it's such a beautiful ecosystem on school in particular for that reason, I think,
Yeah.
because there is such a collaborative mindset and a sharing. And I think as women too, like a lot in our corporate careers, we're pitted against each other. And so this whole Rise Sister Rise has been like a mission of mine for 8 years. And I can immediately tell when I'm in other communities like yours that are Rise Sister Rise. In all the communities I hang out in, it's the essence. And when I don't feel that, I'm out. And you guys, if you're not in already, definitely get in. How Before I ask my magic question, because we're almost like wrapping it up, you guys,
Yeah.
any questions we didn't get to, you got to drop in the chat. What are the ways we can support you in the school games? Like, obviously, I'm a premium member, so I'm part of the school sleigh, right? Like, I
Yeah.
just was like, I've got to get in and do this. And you're doing the mini magic project. I am so excited about, and that's in the premium too. So tell us how we can support you on this
Yeah.
school rush, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so thank you for bringing it up. So if you're ready, if you want to support me, there is actually 10 ways that you can support me. Not all of them are monetary because I understand not everyone is ready. And it could be some of you might not be ready financially. I've been there. I totally get that. Some of you might not be ready because it's too early for you, right? So to join Mini Project Magic and again, many different ways. So what I will do will share with Addie, so she will put it in notes, a document, and also very interactive way. You can see 10 ways you can support me. In a
Yeah, I love
nutshell,
that.
in a nutshell, you can support me by joining premium, of course. That's what puts me on a leaderboard. But another way, what you can do, you can share this video with your friends. You can share and invite people in my community. You can earn affiliates through that as well when they join premium or buy other products inside. You can literally be in my community and engage and participate and help us to keep it alive and active. I call it a witness. You can be witness. I have 10 archetypes of how you can help me. You can be witness. You can be so many ways that you can bring it. Again, rising tides lift the boat. I cannot do
Yeah.
it myself. Every time I do updates, I say we are number 7 today, right? So we need to be at number 5 to get into that room because I
That's
believe that
done.
midlife us who creates magic, who shares the magic, who lift each other, like you said, rise, go, rise, right? So let's go and do that together because I can be in a room with Sam Owens and sharing your message because that's my goal. I literally will be asking my community, what do you want me to ask Sam when I'm there?
Yeah, we need all the questions for Sam. Katya, you're going to be on it. I know. I love
Yeah,
it.
start sending them to me.
Okay, we're going to wrap up with my final question for you. What one thing is your younger self would think is absolute magic about your life right now?
Oh my God, that's probably that I see deer all the time in my, like, literally I was doing presentation
Yeah.
in another community and I did 1 second, guys. I took my camera and I turned around and I said, look, that's magic.
Yeah.
So I see, like, all the animals around me. I live in this most magical space on earth, literally. My friend, when she came to visit last year from England, she said it's heaven on earth. And I just literally pinch myself every day. So that would be one that I see that around me. And second one that I had created a deck. Not one, but few, right? So that's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah, that's another thing for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. You're in Vancouver or Calgary? Or I know you're
I'm
in.
Vancouver Island, so I'm not on the
Oh,
mainland. I'm on an island. Yeah,
God, that's cool. That is
yeah,
cool. Okay,
yeah.
well, thank you, Katya. I think we hit everything. You guys, I will put in the comments Oracle Connections, the free school community you can get in, and definitely start there. And then I will also post the ways you can support Katya on the school site because we need more women on that leaderboard and in that mastermind. And here we go. Thank you. Thank you for being on
One more
Midlife
thing I
Badassery.
wanted to, yeah, one more
Yes.
thing I wanted to mention. When you put your affiliate link, okay, I want to let everyone know, just like school, the way school works, before you click on a document with how you can support me, okay, click on Addie links first and see that it says Addie invite you. And only after that, click on my document because some people were doing it opposite because I have another link there. But I want to make sure that I can thank Addie for referring all of you guys, right? So, and I want to see that as well. I want to see who is coming from your referrals. So that's
Yeah.
important.
I feel like I talk about you so much that, like, if someone isn't in already, I feel like I've already, like, been like, "Hey, get in here." But, there's probably a few of you stragglers out there, so get your little asses in Oracle Connections or else. See, I had to bring the violence somewhere, Katya. You
I
were
know
waiting
it's
for
like you
it.
did what Heather, right? So Heather B said, like, you need to
Yeah.
go and get there.
Yeah, I'm like, "Why are you not in this group yet?" You know? So, if you wanna make an Oracle deck, just make connections, be in an amazing community, come join us in there. So, thanks for everyone who joined us live. This was a lot of fun, and, Katya, thank you, my dear, always your biggest fan.
Thank you so much for
Rise in the
being.
boat.
Okay,
You're
yeah,
welcome.
let's raise
Okay,
the boat. Okay, bye for now.
bye, everybody.